Hey you guys, Dev here at WeBuyHouses.com. Welcome to the Cash Offer Masterclass, episode number 96. We are getting closer to a special episode number 100. I want you guys to tune in for that. Today we're looking at this house in Wylie, Texas. Wylie's a very nice, growing community east side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We'll take a look at where it is. But what's special about the house today is it comes to us from a new wholesaler. Redwood Properties sent me this one, and I appreciate any of you guys, wholesalers, will send me your emails, dev@webuyhouses.com, and I will take a look at your deals and perhaps feature them on the show. Now, one of the reasons I feature Fazio so often is they're, number one, they get a lot of deals under contract. I've got something to look at every day to make an episode from Fazio, and they give me a consistent format of the information so that I know I can take one of their emails and really do a breakdown because they give me all the information that's needed. So Redwood, I think, is doing a pretty good job here too. Let me just show you the house here they sent me there at 113 South Winding Oak Drive in Wylie, Texas. They're saying purchase price $219 for the cash buyer with an ARV of $310. They've got a link to pictures, which we'll come back to. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Typical house with 1,300 square feet. Not a really big house for that Wylie community, but it was one of the ones that was built back in the 90s. I think many of the houses being built in Wylie today are probably 4,000 square feet or more. So it's an older Wylie property, but Wylie's not that old, if that makes sense. They are showing this one today, actually. If you have any interest in the house, reach out to Scott there at Redwood. He's at 214-549-2246. As always, I don't have any relationship with these guys. We don't make a penny if you buy this property. I'm not selling properties. I'm teaching people how to buy properties for cash. And so that's the email that we got from Redwood Properties. So let's take a little closer look at it. This, as I said, well, first let me just show you where Wylie is. Wylie is up. Here's DFW. Dallas, northeast or east of Plano. There's Murphy, Sachi. There's a really nice Lake Lavon is out here. Very nice lake. In fact, there's Ray Hubbard, which is huge, and then you've got Lavon. So if you like to be on the lake, you'd probably like Wylie, Texas. It's a bit of a drive. Like if you work in Dallas, I don't think you could live in Wylie and work in the mid cities. It's just too much of a drive. But if maybe you work from home, maybe you are retired, Wylie could be a great community. There's plenty of stuff around Wylie. I don't need to question. I'm sure they've got all the necessary shopping, food stores, restaurants, all kinds of things. Wylie's pretty nice area. So, but again, this is a smaller home built in 1993, and we drive around the neighborhood. First thing I like to do is see, what do I see out my front door? And what I see is the side of their house and an old fence, probably built in 1993. But as I drive around the neighborhood, these are they're not big homes, but they're nice homes, and they're not cookie cutter either. I think they look different to me. So as far as the street drive goes, yeah, this is a nice enough area, nice street. Kind of what I would expect from a 1990s property in that area of North Texas. So pretty nice. Now, as I look at this deal, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I don't think the discount is deep enough. Like, assuming the 310 ARV is good, if we just took, let's grab my calculator. If we just took the 310, well, I need to take the 219,000, multiply it times 100, divide it by the 310,000, and I see it's at 70%. So the 219 is 70% of 310. that is right on the discount factor. It doesn't allow for any sort of repairs or cosmetics. So if the house is in great condition and 310 is the ARV, then the 219 is what you would pay, 70% discount. I have a feeling, because it's an older home and it's not being sold on the MLS, there's probably a reason they're selling it to a cash buyer, maybe for, they're in a hurry or whatever the situation might be, but the house probably needs some work. We'll take a look at it and see. Now, the first thing I do is I try to determine, is that 310 ARV a good ARV after repaired value? That's what the house would be worth after we buy it, fix it up, put it back on the market. What would we list it for in perfect condition? 310 is what they're suggesting, which sounds very affordable for Wylie, but is it the right ARV for the property? Now, you guys know there's two ways that we would go in this. We could either use a real estate broker agent partner, or if we're licensed, we can then ourselves do a CMA, a competitive market analysis. And this is looking at recently sold properties and coming up with what the likely market value of the property would be in excellent condition. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is I look at Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, and Property Radar, and I average those numbers, and it gives me a really good shot at what the ARV of thing is. So if I go to Zillow, 296, not 310, but let's see. Definitely they had this house at 314, year and a half ago, 313. Looks like there's been some softening in the market there from the recent comps, and that's why that one has taken a dip. And we look over on Realtor.com. They're still at 300 on the house, 300, 248, with that number coming from Quantarium. Let's see, Collateral Analytics at 292. So there's a few different sources come in there at Realtor that you can look at. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Almost looked at that Nissan Leaf. All right, went to Redfin, 283 over at Redfin. One thing I like about Redfin is they have this little market meter thing down here. Kind of helps you see, is it a buyer's market where there's just so much stuff on the market and the buyers have their pick of the litter, or is it a seller's market where there's not a lot, things are selling really fast for more than lists, for example. They're about in the middle out there in that neighborhood in Wylie, in that zip code. 93 days on market. So you're going to spend about 3 months on market. And that holding time of keeping a house on the market being shown for 3 months, you as the investor, you're paying the whatever loan payments, interest payments, insurance that's needed during that period of time. That's what we refer to as the holding costs. And so they're basically saying, now here again, I think this is one of the cheaper houses in Wylie. If you look, 430 is the median, even in that zip code. So pretty good deal. And if you look down here, you see some, what I'll argue is nicer houses in Wylie, newer, nicer places in the 400s. So actually still not that expensive up there in Wylie. I looked at Property Radar. I can't show you that one because it shows the owner's information, but I got their number and it came in at 305,466. By the way, guys, for episode 100, I've got the founder of Property Radar, Sean O'Toole's coming on. We're going to talk about how smart investors are using data in 2026 and beyond. So be sure to check into episode 100, and you'll get to meet the guy behind Property Radar, which I think is one of the best data sources particularly for non-licensed people. We get great information from Property Radar. So I highly recommend it. It's also not very expensive. I'm not selling it. I'm not selling you anything. I don't have an affiliate deal. Maybe I should have an affiliate deal because I do show it on every episode. And I do really like their number. And if you see here, Property Radar came in on the top of the spectrum at 305, close to the 310 on the email, but not quite making it there. The average of our numbers come out to 296, the median at 298. I find that when I put the $12.99 square foot in, that it's at $229 a square foot that I reach. 297, 297, 471. And I think that's right in the middle of my average and my median. So I've kind of smoothed everything out, and I like that number. Now, this kind of gets to the problem that we were talking about earlier. I'm not seeing that the ARV is 310. I'm seeing it's closer to 300. So, did Redwood make a huge mistake here? No, absolutely not. In fact, they may have done a CMA, and the CMA may be showing it 305, 310. It's certainly possible. But so I'll give them a minus on ARV. It's not what I'm seeing with my public sources, but it's pretty close. And so when I come back to my model, now they want 219, and I come back to my model and I find at my 297 ARV, not the 310. Remember, I was at about 70% on the 310. Well, I really think it's about 297. And that means if the house was in perfect condition, zero repairs, we could pay with the 70% discount, 208, 230. And what do they want? 219. So this is kind of what I saw. And I honestly, these emails, my brain kind of works pretty well at the 70% thing. I can look at two numbers and go, ooh, that one's going to be a little too high. Now, why aren't they selling it cheaper? Well, they didn't get it cheaper. Like that's kind of the challenge for the wholesaler is, this is a house that's being sold at a discount. There's no doubt about it. And I think somebody's going to get a great deal in this house. The question is it going to reach the metrics that are necessary for a cash buyer investor? And I think it's going to have some challenges with that. Is it a bad deal from Redwood? No, not at all. In fact, I think it's a good deal. It'd be a great deal for an individual to get into Wylie in a nice home, decent area. Yeah, at 219 sounds good to me. But let's see what it's really worth to us as cash buyers. And to do that, we now do the next step of the process, which we're going to estimate what the repairs are. Maybe there's no repairs and this thing is just ready to go. We've got a panel, kind of a blurry picture. Older panel, 1993. I don't expect that there's any real issues with that. You can definitely see the wear and tear of the years that this house has been in use. And, a lot of this, it's crazy that there's that much wear and tear, like on the edges, but they were banging around and the stuff as they walked around in the house, I guess. But I also see a single washer there, and maybe the dryer's on the other side across from it, but it's telling me not much of a laundry room. Not much of a fence either. And maybe a couple of different kinds. Like, man, they really saved some money on this one. I mean, on both of them, these aren't what you would call a privacy fence. Or like a gate or something. I don't know. Not a gate, I guess opens. Never mind. There's the gate back there probably. A couple of different kinds of fences. There's your normal fence. And then this is, to me, that's just silly, man. I think that's somebody trying to save some money and throwing 2 inches in between each slat. I do not approve, but it's there. And, and it may hold a dog in fine. Big dog. So it probably accomplished its goal. We got plenty of tires left over if we need those. And just looking out, brick looks good. Roof looks real good. They said in the email, has a new roof. And it looks like a new roof. It really does. It looks great. Brick looks good. Now, what are we looking for as investors? We're looking for cracks. We're looking for decay, problems. We're not really, we expect cosmetic. We expect to do paint and flooring. We don't really expect to do, necessarily foundations and roofs and all that kind of stuff. This house looks pretty good in these outdoor pictures. I think there's 5 different kinds of fencing material used on the property, maybe even more. What is going on over there? That's the neighbor's house, I think. Yeah. Pretty close together. You got to love your neighbor, friends. and it's easier to do if you live right next to them. All right, again, roof looks great, brick looks great. Even that deck, while I don't think it's super new, it doesn't look like it's decaying. It looks pretty good, pretty solid. In fact, she goes and takes a closer picture, and I'm going to give that 2 thumbs up. I'd probably treat that again just to extend its life, but that looks pretty good to me. Yard's not overgrown. The house has been relatively well taken care of. We go into the house. Not a great picture. I'm not, again, I'm looking for things like cracks, discoloration, holes in the ceiling or walls. And this house looks pretty good. You can see, I think that's either just a light or a darker color. I do like that picture right there. That's pretty cool. That should be my thumbnail right there. All right. Moving on, we're in another bedroom. A little shelf up there, isn't that nice? I'm starting to see signs of a little bit of popcorn, but it's kind of a very inconsistent popcorn. 90s would be about right for popcorn, my friends. There it is. I knew I would catch it. I'd find it in here. There's some popcorn. We like to get rid of that. If we're going to do floors and walls anyway, we always get rid of the popcorn, in the early stage because it makes a huge mess. And again, things look okay to me. Looks okay. 1990s house. Popcorn. Again, not seeing a lot of problems. I'm going to assume paint because I just, generally a house being offered to a cash buyer, is not like recently updated or painted or something. I'm going to assume because these pictures aren't super great. I can't see a lot of detail. There's something in the corner there. Don't know what that is. The flooring, does it focus in? No, it doesn't. The flooring looks like a vinyl plank product. Again, you can see, okay, this is the kind of stuff that we're looking for. That's very minor, to be honest. Here in North Texas, you'll see some cracks you can stick your finger in, which is a problem. You're going to have the house leveled. Do you have to level a house for this? If that's the only one, I wouldn't. Just a little stress crack. No big deal. Popcorn again. I like the beige paint. It'd be easy to come in here and beige it, but this kind of is a sign of the age of the property. 1993, right? Is what they said. 93, correct? Yeah. You see stuff like this, weird colors, and honestly, I'm thinking I kind of like it, but it would be hard to work like maybe with beige walls. This blue would kind of look fine. But I have a feeling if we were to get close to it, we're going to find defects because it's old. And it's just an old linoleum, that flat linoleum product. I think it's linoleum. Am I saying the right word? Pretty sure. Vinyl sheets like that just cover the surface. This used to be what was used back in 70s, 80s, into the 90s. Then it became other materials, more like even cast plastics and things that look like marble and stuff like that, which are relatively inexpensive. That's what we use these days. So what I notice here is the trim is missing. Not sure why that happened. Maybe they were going to paint this room, and you can see along the edges some nicks and missing paint. So yeah, I think this is a cosmetic. I do not like those tiles, but depending upon what we see when we got in there. I had a tile guy one time that what he would do is he would clean it and then he would almost like grout it. He would kind of rub new grout in and then clean it, and he would get like a new floor look. It was a really cool way to freshen up an old floor that you're going to keep. Bathtub looks old and but okay, and I don't see any grossness. These people have been living in the house, and so even though it's a little bit worn, it's probably functional. If people are living in the house, I assume electrical and plumbing are in working order. You also assume HVAC is in working order. Now, that's one of the criticisms I would have for Redwood compared to, say, the Fazio emails that we get, is that Fazio explicitly calls out the big five. And, that's the roof, electrical, plumbing, foundation, and what am I forgetting? There they are. HVAC. The big one, HVAC, can really hit you. So one of the ways in pictures that I look for HVAC problems is you'll see window units. And window units are the telltale sign. Now, sometimes a window unit, you'll see when people convert their garage, they stick a window unit right on the front of their house, on the converted garage, because it doesn't have any ductwork. And so rather than, which is not that hard to do, get up there and add a duct that comes down into that converted garage area. A lot of times people will just stick one on. So you see that a lot, even when the HVAC for the main house is okay. But all right, yeah, again, I think many investors would look at this and say this countertop needs to go and flooring needs to go and it needs to be painted. And yep, just looking around. Is that the same place? We're in the same place. There's a missing drawer, and they've now just stuck these things in there for storage so they can pull them out because the drawer face is gone. Somebody can fix that and replace it. Those things look weird. It's like the picture is bent because I don't think those would be bent. Anyway, there's a garage. I mean, not garage. There's a closet. And another view of the closet. I'm guessing this is the closet off the master. I think. Yeah, I think it is. Not quite a walk-in. This is 322, so it's got 2 bathrooms. This is the other one. And it has trim. Similar look. Yeah, so look, that's the one with the 2. Let me just go back real quick. Is it all? Yeah. That's bathroom 1. And it was here that we went to bathroom 2. The one without the door face there. I now know where I am. Same countertop. Kind of threw me off. Okay, here's a sign that something, has been going on, and they started doing some work for some reason, and clearly needs to be painted. And do see that floor throughout. Have to put eyeballs on that floor and see if it's still good. If it is, that would save you a lot of money, not having to replace the floor on that house. Be $3-4 grand. Now, I think what they did here is they de-popcorned and painted this white, and now they were going to go in and repaint the walls. That's what I think might have been going on in this house. And they never got to that part. Main living area, vaulted ceiling, gray in color, I think. Nice little fireplace. There's your front door, entry hallway into that main living. Pictures aren't too great, but I'm just not seeing any major issues, holes, or problems. This house was recently lived in, maybe lived in right now, maybe lived in today. And so I think it's in relatively good condition. And we can start to wrap this one up. Yeah, I think we're not going to see. Now, I do see more of that floor. Man, I would hope that floor would be okay because it looks fine in the photos. But the photos are not that high res. Don't love that floor, but I've had it in houses, and I've bought and sold many houses that have that simple white 12-inch tile. It's fine. I don't see cracks or anything like that, which sometimes we see. Excuse me. And again, yeah, I don't think we're learning much. I do think most of the time, unless it's been recently painted, you're going to have to paint. And seeing the edges of door frames and things that were so nicked up, I'm just betting that paint is not going to look too great when we put our eyeballs on it. And so we're going to have to paint this house inside. Is that a pink linoleum countertop? Is that Is that what that is? I think it's pink. I think, man, something happened in the 90s where pink and blue, like like a baby reveal party, come into the house, see what color countertop I have, I'll tell you which baby I'm having. I don't know. It's not popular now. Those countertops need to go. Appliances don't look horrible. We're at the end of the thing. So, again, this house, this is a livable house. This is a rent, probably almost rent ready house. So, when we come over here to expenses on this thing, I think it needs a full cosmetic. That would be, it's not that big of a house. That'd be 13 grand. And I'm just going to guess that a house of this age is going to need some repairs. If I put a 1 in, that gives me 8 grand. Honestly, this is kind of where I stand on this house. Pretty much any 322 that we go into, even if it needs the basics, just the basics, we're looking at $20,000. I mean, there's always something, and if the floors need to be replaced, it's probably higher than this. And so if I come up with a repair estimate that's under $20,000, I have a feeling I'm going into it kind of blind, and I'm going to be have an unhappy surprise that I just didn't budget enough to repair and redo the cosmetics of the house. So, and again, we're assuming all these things are okay. Electrical, plumbing, foundation, roof. I think the roof is pretty sure it's okay. But these other things, we don't really know much. But we know it's being lived in, so it's probably in pretty good shape in those regards. With a $20,000 repair budget, that's going to put our calculation for the cash offer, which again is the after repaired value times the discount factor, 70%, minus the repairs, equals 187,446. That's where I would be on this house in Wylie, Texas. Now, again, I'm 30,000 below where these guys are, and you might say, "Oh, man, this deal sucks." Well, the deal is what the deal is. Like, if he went in there and offered these guys, 50%, they probably weren't taking it. So he had to get maybe he's at 60%, or something like that to ARV. So I think as I look at this, my thought is it's a good deal for somebody, just probably not a cash investor. Like if you were a fixer-upper guy, looking for a good deal in Wylie, it'd be good to find this on the MLS and at that price, and I think it would fly off the MLS at that price. So I'm just saying, maybe this is not, we're not finding the cash buyer with this deal at that 219. So 187 is where we are on the deal. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I didn't have anything up at the end to say anything cool about what we do or anything like that. I think I'll just keep it at that. I do want to thank Redwood for being our victim today. Thank you so much for sending me the email. Please continue to do so. We'll try to feature some of your houses on the show. We definitely want to have more variety in the wholesalers. I saw a new wholesaler that entered the chat, and I was very excited. And I really do thank you for sending over your deal. And again, if you have any interest, reach out to Scott there at 214-549-2246. Hey guys, if you have a house that you'd like to sell fast for cash, you don't want to mess with all those repairs that we see in all these pictures, maybe you've inherited the house, or maybe you've moved somewhere and it's your old house and you got 2 mortgage payments or some issue like that, but the house needs repairs and it's going to be harder to sell it to a retail buyer. That's when we can step in and give you a great fair cash offer for the house. Buy it in as-is condition very quickly. Take it off your hands. You have a big pile of dough instead of a big pile of problems, which you may have with that house that you currently own. Reach out to WeBuyHouses.com. Put your information in, answer a few questions, and I will connect you with one of the top real estate investors in the country to purchase your property fast for cash. That's what I have for you today, guys. It's been a pleasure spending time with you. I just want to remind you again, episode 100, I'm going to have Sean O'Toole, the founder, and he was the CEO. I think he's hired a CEO so that he can be the chairman of the board and all that kind of stuff. But Sean O'Toole is like a data genius, and we're going to spend some time with him in episode 100. I want you to catch that, because this business that we're in is a data business. And if your data's wrong, your deals are wrong. And if your deals are wrong, you won't be in this business very long. I just made a rhyme, didn't even intend to. So there you go. Guys, take care. Have a great day. Adios.